do you have like people that you really like working with? Like, for example, I always hope secretly that I'm my therapist's favorite. And if you were my life coach, I'd be like, I hope I'm Raia's favorite or I'm going to scream. Like, do you have favorites? And do you let them know?
I'm laughing because I'm like, I also hope that I'm my therapist's favorite.
I think we all hope that and believe.
And like, she's probably low-key lied to me if I really reflect. I don't like, she's probably like, I don't know. And now I'm like, gonna have to think about this.
Hello and welcome back to Overstimulated with me, Hilary Henderson. This week we have a life coach joining us, you guys. We've never had a life coach on the pod before, and from some of the DMs that I've read from y'all, you need it. We need it. I need it. Raia Carey's here with us. Hey, Raia, how are you doing?
How's it going? I'm pumped to be here.
I'm so excited that you're able to join us today.
But really also, who doesn't need a life coach?
Right. Do you find, like, do you start all of your sessions with people being like, hi, you needed me. Yeah. You're welcome.
Imagine. But I'm like, I would need support too. Like, no person is exempted from external support.
Does a life coach have a life coach?
I have a business coach and I have a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between a life coach, a business coach, and a therapist?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. Let's get right into it. So I would say a coach is kind of like bridging the gap between therapy and psychiatry.
Okay.
So therapy very much can be talk therapy often. You know, you might come to the therapist and talk about the same thing for months at a time because you need to just get it out.
Right. And they're like, how does this relate to your childhood?
Exactly.
Then you end up crying.
Exactly.
And you're like, this is...
Like a lot of people have the same therapist for 10 years. Great. And then a psychiatrist is more like cognitively. How does your brain actually work that's now contributing to certain patterns and things in your life?
Okay.
Great.
So somebody say has like a learning disability or like something like that. Okay.
Or like a brain trauma or, you know, other like quite large things that would impact how their brain actually functions. So like if I was really struggling with ADHD, I could also use a psychiatrist, you know?
Right.
And then coaching is more
Which
about
you do,
like...
to clarify, for a little spoiler for everyone.
Yeah.
We're friends here in the ADHD community.
It's the ADHD club. There's like 1,000 tabs open already. And then coaching would be like helping someone move from where they are now to where they want to go. So my job is to ask the right questions rather than give advice. And usually my clients, I don't have them for as long. Because my goal is that I instill you with enough tools that you no longer need me.
Right.
So for me as a coach, that's my measure of success.
That's a terrible business model.
I know, right?
Did
Imagine,
your business manager
oh, so if you need me, reach out.
But circle back.
But like, think about it, because for me, it's that higher calling,
right?
Like my higher self. My goal is that you can do it on your own. And if you need me, like ad hoc, let's do it. Let's say you have a big breakup or a big shift at work and you haven't seen me in 6 months, book a session. But I don't want to lock you in and say every Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Right.
You have to see me.
Like something that's like a therapist, ritualistic.
I always start each client off with 3 months, once a week. And after that, you book me when you need me.
I love that. I love that.
And then it gives me flexibility as well.
Right, right. Because do you have like people that you really like working with? Like, for example, I always hope secretly that I'm my therapist's favorite. And if you were my life coach, I'd be like, I hope I'm Raia's favorite or I'm going to scream. Like, do you have favorites? And do you let them know?
I'm laughing because I'm like, I also hope that I'm my therapist's favorite.
I think we all hope that and believe.
And like, she's probably low-key lied to me if I really reflect. I don't like, she's probably like, I don't know. And now I'm like, gonna have to think about this and probably journal about it later.
But do you as a coach have favorites?
I would know. I don't have favorites, but I would say maybe clients that are, you have to be challenged.
Okay.
Versus clients where it's a little bit more effortless. You know, for some, so for example, a client who is moving through something at work. To me, that's an easier pattern to move through because it's not like fully attached to their value, how they see themselves as a person or their identity. So it's a little bit more surface level attached to how they feel.
Okay.
Whereas someone who's moving through, like I've never felt confident.
Right, yeah.
Then I'm like, great, that's a new challenge for me. Let's see if I can ask the right questions to help you get to where you want to go.
Okay, so I would be your favorite client then. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I love.
Okay, deal. We'll see. I mean, we have an hour together.
Raia, I know from your story, you had a moment when I believe you were in grade 4, where do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. We can talk, everything's on the table.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I guess it's weird because a lot of people don't really remember what you're doing in grade 8.
Right.
Or sorry, when you're 8 years old. And when I was reflecting on what is my focus? Like, what is my niche? What is the piece of my story that could potentially impact and help others? And so eventually I got to confidence. And then I started thinking, like, what is my root of my confidence and how did I start? Because you can't teach unless you reflect.
Right.
Or else you're just talking at people and nobody wants that. And I got to this moment.
Get her in a university lecture hall right now. That's people are paying tens of thousands of dollars in tuition.
And that's why we all failed a couple of classes first year. Because we didn't go.
No, there was other things to do. You were exploring confidence. You were living life. You can't live life.
Being present.
Yeah.
Parents, if you're listening, I was going to class for sure.
Yeah. Wink again.
We were not. So I got back to this. Somehow I remembered this moment, and I was like, yeah, this was a really pivotal moment for me because, my schools prior to that I was bullied, and then when I switched schools the next year, I became the bully.
Oh,
I'm thinking,
interesting.
If I'm the bully, they can't bully me, which obviously didn't work out well.
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
I'm imagining you as do you know Recess, like Spinelli from Recess? How,
Yeah.
She's kind of mean, but you see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
She's a
so I
sweetie.
tried that for a couple of months, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to make people feel the way I felt. So then I changed schools again in grade 4 just by luck.
Oh, and you were each time you're new persona.
Yeah,
new,
I was like, what do I do? I've been bullied. I've been the bully.
Yeah.
How do I shift this?
I love it. You were doing character work. You were doing improvisation.
I was doing those deep dives. I'm only 8, so there's not as much available to me. And I just remember the first day of grade 4 just crying. I was the only new kid. I was the only fat kid. I was the only person of color. And everyone was making fun of me. And I was like, okay, I can either try to go home, which nothing fuels a bullies more than parents coming to pick you up on your first day.
Right.
So I was like, how do I figure this out on my own? So I cried in the washroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you've done this before. You'll do this again. You have friends. And so I wiped my tears away and I head back to the classroom, but I kept thinking, what can I do differently? And I deeply believe that it was my intuition or my ancestors or something, higher power just said to me, go around the room and introduce yourself. At that point, I really had nothing to lose.
At 8 years old. Yeah.
Wow. I did. And then that was the beginning of me recognizing okay, confidence isn't something you can just have. You have to work at it and you need tools. Just like if you were building a house.
Right.
You can have the idea and the visual and the diagrams, but without the tools and the nail and the wood, you can't build. So that was the beginning of me understanding you need tools to be at your best. And then that became my tool anytime I was in a new space. Even to this day, if I walk into a room and I don't know people, it's the first thing I do. Hi, I'm Raia. What's your name?
Right.
And it kind of disarms and take away a lot of those preconceived. Those moments where you've been in a room and you don't know that person's name.
Yeah.
But you've kind of engaged. And
you feel weird.
And you feel weird.
Yeah.
And you're well, shit, now I don't want to ask because I've talked to you for the last hour.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it first, it invites everybody in.
Right.
And now it's it's a warmer environment.
Yeah. Well, and I'll even notice myself in conversations if I'm talking to somebody who, say, I think is really cool, or maybe I'm a bit jealous of, or I feel the energy in me changes.
Yeah.
And then I'll feel it in the conversation somebody else. And then I'm like, oh no. And now I think they hate me and they're probably thinking something weird about me. But really we're both just if somebody's engaging with you, you're having a meaningful conversation.
For sure. I don't typically talk about the second part, but the second part of the introduce yourself is ask questions to the other person. Because then it gives me a chance to close some of the tabs, take a deep breath, and then that person is immediately thinking, wow, this is new.
Right. Can we role play that?
Yeah.
So say we're both at an event.
Love it.
I'm holding what do you like to drink?
I'm usually let's do spritz.
Ooh.
Doing no drinking right now.
Cool.
So we'll do a Perrier, extra ice, lemon, and lime, and it's a healthy Sprite.
Okay, I love that. I'm gonna have that also. So
Everyone wanted
we're
that.
Sipping.
Now you all have that
I was
breakdown.
Gonna pick something else. 10 minutes into the episode, and Coach Carey sponsored by Sprite.
I was prepared for all questions except for that one.
What do you like to drink? Okay, so imagine if we're holding our healthy Sprites.
Our healthy Sprites.
We're sipping it. They've got an umbrella in it because they feel really bad for us. They're the only sober people there. Yeah. They've got it all fancy.
Yeah.
We're sitting there. Yeah. I'm standing alone. I'm kind of doing my weird Hilary thing. Yeah. I'm just looking around.
Hey, I'm Raia. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Hilary. So nice to meet you.
Amazing. What are you doing here?
I'm waiting for a friend, but I just wanted to come check out this event and see what the
How'd you hear about the event?
I found it on Instagram, actually. Is that how you found out about it?
Yeah, that's awesome. Is the friend that's coming to meet you like your best friend or just like an acquaintance?
Yo, we're actually kind of beefing right now, low-key. Oh! She doesn't know it. She doesn't know it. I got a problem with her man, you know? It's this whole thing.
Boom.
But, oh my God, I can't believe I just told that to a stranger.
Hey, it happens all the time. I happen to be a life coach.
Oh, really? No shit. Boom, drop my drink. Like, here we are. Here we go.
All right, so I always say ask 3 questions.
Cool.
But have it be something around what they already gave you.
Yeah.
So you told me you're waiting for a friend. So now that gives me a clue of what questions I can ask you.
Right.
That'll be easy for you to answer.
Right.
And now we just built rapport.
We did.
And now if I see you throughout the night, you're going to be like, oh my God, what's up?
Yeah. And you're going to see my friend and be like, yo, girl.
Yikes.
Yeah. No.
You know?
That's,
boom.
yeah.
And now we've just like
And then
created...
I'll pass my friend your card and be like, here's a life coach.
Easy.
Stop talking to that man or
Absolutely.
something. Whatever
Cut
it is.
that person out.
Cut him out. This is great. So we're only a few minutes in, guys, and we have a full tangible tip already for something like networking. I know like that's like, yeah. That's one thing I've actually been trying to get better at in my comedy aspect of my life is like, because one thing is like, I'll go perform, and then I'm usually like leaving. And like I realize
Bye.
like like that's kind of it. And like usually I'll stay to the end of the show because I like don't want to be rude, and I'll like thank the producer for like having me on the show, and then be like, oh, and like I don't hang.
But you're avoiding the networking?
Yes, and but I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
And no.
Okay, so since we're just live.
Yeah. We're going into it already.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
You're gonna ask me why do I think I need to be doing that?
Nope. I'm gonna say the biggest thing that I've learned in my work and for myself is the one tool all humans have and have access to is language. So you can listen to all the podcasts, listen to this one.
Yeah.
You can read all the books and all the self-help things. Subscribe, click below right here. But you're not really going to have access to those things in those moments of angst or frustration, right? We're now in our rational mind rather than our logical mind or our emotional mind. So you said need. Immediately that sends a negative connotation to your brain.
Like I'm not.
Exactly. Because all humans want free will. And so the moment you say need, you've now taken that away from yourself. So the chances of you showing up to something that you've now deemed a need, chances are you won't.
So then how might I rephrase?
I get to
network.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. I will. Okay. I'm so excited later tonight. Right.
But you see that you feel the different energy.
Yes.
Because when you say need,
it's like a responsibility. It's like something, it's like my boss is yelling at me to do something.
So you avoid it.
Right. Okay, I want to talk to you more about confidence and self-talk. I know you also had a moment, you believe you said you were 27, where you were like, shit, I don't feel fulfilled. Like, I don't like the path I'm on.
Yeah.
Do you think like our quarter life crisis real? Is it just like a Saturn return? Do you believe in any of that stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's almost like I believe in anything. Anything is possible. My connection to that has always been, probably since high school, was if my heart is beating in my chest every single day without me ever having to think about it or ask it to, there's things in this world that I probably don't understand. But that's enough for me to remind me that you might not understand it, but it's happening.
Right. Are you a spiritual or religious person at all with that?
I believe in everything. You know what I mean? Like that's my spirituality.
I like that approach. Yeah.
So in terms of Saturn return or quarter life crisis, I think there's validity to it, but I think it depends on each person because someone could have that at 22.
Right.
And someone could have it at 52. You know, but I think each decade there will be some sort of elements of that. So I think for me, I wouldn't call it a quarter life crisis because I didn't feel in disarray or not supported. But I felt internally the need for a shift.
What made you know that you needed a shift?
So I'm also obsessed with all things underwater.
I don't know it.
I'm swimming.
I thought this was like the title of a book. All things underwater. I'm like, cool. But
you're like, oh my God, pressure. I don't know the book. She's going to judge me.
No, I'm familiar with being underwater. I've done it.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
I'm just so used to people talking about TV series.
Are you a recovering people pleaser?
Yes, can you tell?
I can tell.
I already told you I want to be your favorite client. Like,
The signs are clear.
Yeah.
The clues are being dropped.
Damn it.
I'm picking them up. So I personally love
when you're swimming,
be in the water. I swim all the time, like whales, sharks, my favorite animals. So
I don't know those.
Never heard of that one. So my analogy for growth is like lobsters crabs have to change their shells. After a while, they outgrow it and they leave it and find a new one that fits them. Same for humans. So what told me that it was time to grow is that I was feeling unfulfilled. And I wasn't necessarily feeling like I was tapped into my purpose, which feels like a very daunting question. Like, what's my purpose? Like, I don't know, be a human and survive? Like, I don't know. But I felt like the spaces and places that were easy and I felt good in, I no longer was feeling that. And, I was, had this background in psychology. I love learning. And then it was just like dormant. Throwing parties takes minimal brain power.
Right.
I'd wake up at noon. I'd have one meeting with all the, hooligans I worked with. And then I'd go to the gym and I'd be like, wow, crazy day.
Right. You're like, that's full. I'm like,
full.
oh my God.
Yeah, exhausted. Right. Need a nap.
Yeah.
And then I'd go out Friday, Saturday. I stopped drinking. I lost 300 pounds. Like there's so many things that shifted from 17 to 27. So then that's when I heard about coaching. And I was like, okay, this feels like it's connecting all the dots throughout my life.
Right. Were you like kind of a coach before you were actually a coach?
Yeah, for sure. Like quasi.
Yeah.
I didn't know it, but...
You just weren't sending out invoices.
No, yeah. Come
for
to
free.
think,
For free.
a lot of y'all owe me some money.
You just get a random email right now?
The invoice is gonna come from you.
Yeah. Thank you for teaching me what swimming is. I'm so grateful. This is the best life coach.
I now will be writing a book on underwater.
That should be the title of a book. Anyways,
there it is.
You see underwater. It's such a good...
The tabs are open. we're firing from all cylinders.
I love it. Just side quest after side quest.
Good luck, editing team. Keep up.
Anyone doing like the time codes for this is like, well, these girls stop.
Quit. Yeah, They've quit. So I feel like that was a pivotal moment in my life, very much like grade 4, because I wanted to help people. And that feeling of unfulfillment is right next to shame, which is a really difficult emotion for humans to move through. Everyone's experienced it, but it is dreadful. And it follows you around like a rain cloud, and it's literally like a sunny day.
Why do you think that, say, we as humans link unfulfillment to shame?
I don't know if it's exactly linked, but they're neighbors. They're right next to each other. I don't know. I think it's just a heavy emotion that we're not necessarily equipped to fully move through unless we have the right tools.
Right.
So unfulfillment is really speaking to like tapping into your purpose. What makes you feel good? You know that Japanese diagram where it's like what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs. That kind of feels like fulfillment. It is kind of the goal of purpose.
Right.
But if you're only doing one of those, then in some way you might feel unfulfilled.
Right.
So it's difficult to try to navigate that because it's speaking to 3 parts and 2 of those are out of your control.
Right.
In terms of what the world needs. And so
is that how you would recommend, like, say someone's listening to this and being like, shit, I really don't know my purpose. Like, how do you usually work with people to help find that? Like, even tapping into something like intuition. I've been like thinking about that a lot recently. And just even understanding what that is. I see an osteopath, shout out Marinella on Bloor Street, but she's really cool and like very holistic with her approaches. And she was like saying, for example, you should try like holding things. Like, she's like, I know, for example, I really love chocolate. And so when I hold chocolate, just paying attention to how holding it makes me feel. I know that I don't like, I think she was like saying like a citrus, like an orange. Like I hold that and I know how it makes me feel. Yeah. And I hadn't even thought about that. But sometimes like I always hear, people I look up to on podcasts or whatever, they'll talk about like, oh, my intuition guided me. And like, boom, that was my next moment. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you even, like, I'm like, where are you, girl?
That's
intuition, get out here.
I feel like everything has a frequency. So that makes sense. But intuition is tricky. Because you might not know it's trying to speak to you. So you might feel this feeling in your stomach every time you're, heading to an event.
Okay, like a bit of nervousness maybe.
But you might deem it nervousness, but maybe it's intuitively you know that someone who rubs you the wrong way will be there.
Right.
So for me, I always recommend writing it down. Like an intuition journal. And then every time you honor it, write it down. And every time you don't honor it, write it down and then see if you were right.
Oh.
Even down to like little things. Like even if I'm in an Uber and I'm like, I know around this time it's typically less busy and the Uber driver wants to take what the map says, I'll still be like, no, take this way. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Right.
But if I'm right, which 90% of the time I am,
right,
then for me, I'm like, okay, this is that affirmation in a way of trusting my intuition. So the more you recognize it and the more you lean into it, the more you trust it, then the more you're able to call it in.
I love that. On the way here today, I was like, I know I'm going to make the TTC transfer and I'm not going to have to tap again.
Did you?
And I made it by 5 minutes.
Hey!
And I was like, and everything always works out for me.
Because they were on King Street today.
That's right.
They were out here wheeling and dealing.
I was like, I can't get a fine, not today. Like
the girl got on before me and she saw them and like just walked away.
It's really like that sometimes. I've been on a couple times before where I see them get on. I'm like, I'll just get off. Like,
I was like, good for you, girl.
It's so funny how, like, especially people in Toronto, like, I obviously understand people who genuinely can't afford $3
of course.
Like, that's a real problem.
That's a real thing, for
like,
sure.
There's also so many cities that have free transit where it's like, we could do
it's
that,
also like, Toronto
like,
Transit, are you efficient?
No, it's not worth the price a lot of the time.
Crawling is faster than the King Street car.
If you moonwalk backwards to your destination, you'll get there quicker than the Dufferin bus will get you there. Honestly. But it is funny to me when I'll see people like holding a I don't know, like a bag of like Mandy salad, like an expensive thing, and they're like, I'm like, you could
eat the salad, eat the salad,
eat the salad,
and then take the journey home. So yeah, tapping into the intuition.
Yeah, it's like
it's not going to fix Toronto's traffic. But it'll help you trust yourself.
That's actually
which builds
crazy
confidence.
Because I was hoping the CEO of TTC would be listening to this specific podcast.
I'm sure they are. I hope.
My intuition's telling me they are.
There it is.
There it is. Boom. There we go. Listen to it.
Tag them.
I'm writing it down right now. Is that right? Let's
Two
see.
people you've never heard of have some serious complaints. Please take them seriously. Kind regards.
XOXO. I love it. Wait, can you explain a bit more about how did you know it was life coaching that you wanted to do? Like an example for people to see how you went through that journey and found that.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I wasn't, because I had the psychology background and
sorry, that's what you studied in school?
Yeah, at Concordia. And that was sort of like, okay, cognitively, why do people do the things they do? It was really good school of thought, really good foundational work. But then when I felt unfulfilled and I heard about coaching, I was like, oh, that's literally what happened. It was very much like an aha moment because I hadn't found something that exactly connects.
How did that feel in your body, that aha moment?
Like excitement.
Okay.
Yeah. Excitement, yet peace. Which is nuanced because that's like hard to do.
Right.
And because a friend had reached out to me and said, hey, I started this coaching program and I'm doing sessions for like $5 just for anyone. And I was like, cool. Tell me more. And then I was like, huh. And then I researched the school and I called every school that was like the top coaching schools at the time. And I had calls with all their admissions people and blah, blah, blah. And then it would literally start to feel like all the dots throughout my entire life were leading up to this, being like, okay, this sounds like me. So I can still help people, still have, a body of work or a school of thought or a methodology. It's not just me giving advice, which is what a lot of people think it is. And then I even was under the impression that maybe that's what it was when I first heard about it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I don't give advice. That's awesome. I just ask questions. So then because I also love that challenge, like you have 0.1 second to ask the right question.
Right.
To help someone get to where it is they want to go.
Right.
I love that. It's always going to be different. But
and
now,
if you ask the wrong question, now you're down. Like, I mean, I guess maybe you could get back to where you can get back.
Yeah,
but
I guess there's no like wrong question, but it's going to be less to the root question.
Yes,
You'll get diverted. And the goal is to get to the roots. We can clear it out and plant something new. So for me, it was hearing about it from someone and being like, wow, that sounds like me. And then doing the exploration of learning more. And then I signed up and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I just kept going.
And now you have 3 certifications to be a life coach.
Yeah.
Because you really wanted to make sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all gonna pay me. And because it was starting to get competitive, right? Like everyone started to want to become a coach.
Wait, is there beef in like
the
life?
Okay.
I was way too excited about that. I was like, are people people like poaching clients?
No.
Like,
competitive in terms of everyone wanting to become a coach, or anyone who just was like, I am good at this and now I'm going to put coach. It's like, that's not how it works. You have to be certified.
Right. But was there like a wave of it? Like when everybody wanted to be like a DJ
was very
in
taboo.
2016? Like that kind of thing?
It was very taboo.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, like Tony Robbins was the only person we really knew.
Right. Yeah.
And then over time, now it's like, I'm a coach. I'm a business coach. I'm an expert coach. I'm a how to take your shoes off coach. Like,
Yeah.
you can be anything coach
wipe your
now.
butt, coach.
Yeah. Which is great as long as you're helping people, but you still need to be certified. So for me, I wanted to set myself apart and get as many accreditations, which then just give me more tools to help people. And I'm probably still going to get a few more. Like I love learning.
Cool.
So I might be like a 10-time certified coach soon.
I love that. And then I don't know what happens then.
$1 million per session.
Then you start coaching the coaches, and then the coaches.
That's what I'm actually working on. Yeah. Executive
yeah.
coaching, so that I can help people who are just starting their coaching, because a lot of people, it's like,
cool.
You know, do the program, but that doesn't mean you're going to have clients.
Right.
So you need to build everything else.
You have to have a winning personality like you to get clients.
You know, but they often don't teach you that in the schools. They give you the stuff and it's online.
Right.
But now you have to put it into practice, create a branding, get a website, build out your network.
Right.
It's a lot.
I want to jump down to some questions we have from listeners, because what we're
'Cause we
talking
could
about
talk
right
for
now
like
reminds
6 hours.
Yes, yeah. Somebody asked me via Instagram, how do I make money but not compromising my values under capitalism? Is this even possible? LOL. But like that's what we're talking about. Yeah. LOL, JK, in case, you know. But that's something you're talking about too. Like say somebody has this calling, like for me it's to be creative. Yeah. There ain't no money in Canadian entertainment, unfortunately. Like
there's maybe like one loony.
Yeah. That's split between 5 people, all like
and that loony's taxed, so good luck.
You've got a good 60 cents to work with at the end of the day. Fuck. You're right. But that's like for me that for example, I mean if somebody's like trying to be like a life, like you know, how do you coach people through, obviously there's these very real barriers in our life.
So it is tough. And I agree. I'm very much the same way. I've always said impact over numbers. And I do believe that when you stay true to your values, know your stuff. Like if you want to be the best in the room, be the best in the room. But there's still room for you to operate your business in an authentic way that speaks to your values. So if your value is, you know, charging a fee that is accessible, do that. Absolutely. So for me, I manage that by being really mindful of who my clients are. I always offer friends and family. So if someone brings me a great referral, sure. And if there's a charity or a small organization, I'll always do this. And I think it's the same thing, you know, I do with everything. I'll say, here's my pricing, but I'll try my best to accommodate your budget.
Right.
So that lets them know that I'm not going to be mad if you send me an offer that's lower potentially than my pricing. And then I get to make the choice. And so 9 out of 10 times, no one's ever like lowballed me. No one's ever been like, here's $1.
Right.
They're like, okay, we see your pricing. We appreciate this. Here's what we can do. And if it's reasonable, I'll say, cool, lock it in. But can you give me 2 referrals?
Right. Okay. Great. Like, so if maybe there's ways that you can trade for favors.
Exactly.
That's like,
And I've run my whole business for the last 10 years off referrals.
Wow.
So to me, that's now invaluable.
Right.
And so if I'm thinking about value, it's less about just the dollar amount. And are you helping me build my repertoire of long-term clients, whether it's coaching, speaking, workshops, brand partnerships, everything. Because
that's a really great approach of like thinking through things long-term rather than being like, okay, I'm not getting this deal this month or week or whatever, but is there a way that in 6 months from now, there's,
and it's always well received because then the companies are like, wow, you were so great to work with. Under promise, over deliver, and if they did get a discount, they're going to go the extra mile to book me again, and the referrals, So a lot of my clients are returning clients. A lot book me for 4 corporate wellness sessions a year, or say, hey, every year in September, train our new employees.
Cool. And you're like, let me at them. Yeah. I'm going to teach them all about swimming.
And then over time, the price goes up because so
that's if somebody's saying wanted to do something that is outside of like a traditional career structure is start small, like
start small, or I would say, okay, let's lock in 4 at a slightly lower price. So that way I'm still getting a higher amount, just lower per, and give me referrals and testimonials on LinkedIn.
I love that.
Right?
Knowing where your market's at, which, by the way, if anybody's looking for a keynote speaker at a conference, retreat, birthday party, etc.,
All of it.
Raia is available. Link
Let's
below.
go. Link below.
I have another question from a listener for you.
Yeah.
It kind of relates to what we're talking about with like a quarter life crisis
Yeah.
or a Saturn return, these kinds of things. But this listener is in their mid to late 20s and feels like I've hit all these milestones, I've passed them, and I'm kind of at the point where what do I do next? A lot of us have these things or ideas passed down of what we should be doing from society or from our parents, marriage by this time, house by this time. And I'm just realizing that that's not actually what I want, but this realization causes anxiety and there's so few models of what these alternatives could be. How do I navigate this?
That's a good one. I would say number one would be allow yourself to feel the anxiety because it's actually not bad. It's showing you that there's shifts happening, right? For anything to shift, there has to be movement, right? So it's almost like an internal thing is happening. And
Like you got to get like the shit side of something before you can, because you have to realize what the path you're on isn't the one that is feeling
Even
good.
if you think about like a hammer and a drill, it has to force to get in. That sounded weird, but you know what I mean.
I'm just thinking about drilling. I'm just like, yeah.
Or like for an engine to start, you got to move the key.
Okay, yeah. Or like starting a lawnmower, you have to like pull it back first.
Cause and effect is more so what I meant. So the anxiety is just her nervous system's response to that. So that's not bad. It's probably telling her that you're on the right path. Keep going. But it's uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Nobody talks about how uncomfortable growth is because it's new, it's uncomfortable, and it's literally like complete untamed terrain.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they were speaking to. So I would say number one, like honor the anxiety, but then write down like when it's happening and where. And so the writing does two things. One, it allows it to live on a page instead of what I like to call the swirlies in your head.
The swirlies.
You know what I mean?
The swirlies get me so bad sometimes.
But it's because they're just like running wild.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of new baby puppies and they're like,
Right. And like
It's
half of them are mean to me and want to see me fail.
Yeah.
And you're like, can you not now?
and you're like, just like trying to chill.
Yeah.
Right? But if you write it down, it gives it a place to live, which calms down the swirlies a bit. And two, it brings it out of your subconscious mind so that way you're not just like trapped.
Yeah.
And then you can come back to that page if you want. So it also puts you kind of back in control. And then that'll help this person with, it's showing up the most when I'm around family. Okay, they're probably being judgmental. They're probably stressing you out about having kids. No kidding, the anxiety is showing up more there, right?
Yeah,
so then that'll help them be like,
And again, for us people pleasers, it's like, oh no,
right.
somebody's disappointed at my choice.
But if you're with your best friends and you don't feel anxiety when you talk about it, that's going to start showing you.
Right.
And then I would say like really get clear on what your potential small next steps could be. I say small because if you start thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna have a brand new career by tomorrow, that's just not gonna work. But if you can be like, okay, so maybe I start having coffee chats with people who are doing things that I'm inspired by or interested in. And then slowly but surely you'll start building up that armor within yourself and that confidence and having different conversations, which will help you figure out where to go, or you hire a coach.
Okay. Link below for Carey's services, Coach Carey.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like a quick one session. Like I don't even think that person would need more.
Okay. Yeah. It would just be kind of noticing where the anxiety is, putting it out. And then say somebody is like a people pleaser. Hypothetically, I don't know any.
Asking for myself.
Yeah, comment below if you know any people pleasers.
Asking for a friend.
If somebody is so like struggling so much with, say, like, pleasing certain people in their life, the opinions of others, and that is like clouding so heavily them to being able to just like see what's true to them separate of that. Like what would you recommend is the first step for someone like that?
So that's tricky because essentially what people pleasing is doing each time, even if it's on a micro scale, it's self-abandonment.
Okay.
Which over time hurts.
Right.
But the only person conflicting said hurt is you on yourself. And exactly.
Wait,
exactly.
People pleasing equals self-harm? Question mark?
Yeah, like self-abandonment.
Self-abandonment. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But internal hurt because now you're like sad or you're annoyed or you feel frustrated or you're like, why did I offer to do that when I'm overwhelmed myself. And then you feel guilty. And then you said, it's this whole thing. So the self-abandonment piece is really tricky because that's like things you need for yourself.
Yeah.
So I would say if someone is a recovering people pleaser, let's put it into action. I would say slowly but surely start implementing new boundaries. And I say slowly but surely because if you go too ham...
I've cut out everyone.
yeah. Then I'm like, oh, we got nowhere to go, right?
Solution to people pleasing, cut out all
you're
the
like,
other people.
now isolate. The next guest is me, and the guest after that is me, and then it's my dog, and then it's my dollhouse.
I don't need anybody else. That's right. It's my dollhouse. It's this crystal ball I made for myself, just stuck up here.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So, but then the other part about that is that boundaries are tricky. And it's actually one of the pillars in my confidence talk and my workshop and the work that I've been, doing for the last 10 years, because people don't realize that boundaries are part of how you feel about yourself. Right? So historically, we all know like boundaries are there to help you respect yourself. Easy. Boundaries are there to teach others how to respect you.
Right.
Easy-ish.
And could you just clarify, like, in case somebody's like, what is a boundary? Like, could you give an example?
Okay, I'll get there in a second. So we'll go full circle. So there to help you respect yourself, there to help you teach others how to respect you. They're tricky because when we're implementing new ones, the people who are impacted by them the most typically respond negatively. And then because you're a people pleaser, the chance of you upholding that same boundary are slim to none.
Right. Because then, you set the boundary, somebody's like, I don't like that. And you're like, oh, it's fine.
Exactly. So for example, when I was throwing parties, I stopped drinking. And there was friends who were like, what? You're not going to drink? Who's going to have fun with me? Who's going to dance on the table with me? Can't believe you would do this. And I was like, that's a really weird response to me trying to do something better for myself. Okay. So then I put a boundary. And I no longer, went out with those people. But I would still, I'll love, see you at the restaurant, high five, say what up. But I'm not calling you to go out. I'm not calling you when I'm having a tough day.
Right.
And so that was the boundary. It's like, yeah, we can still be friends, but now we no longer party together.
Okay.
And so when they respond negatively, that's them pushing up against that boundary.
Right.
And I could either falter and be like, yeah, you're right. Let's party tonight.
Right. And is that because this person is like, they don't want to have to look at their own partying, or they just,
I think it's a combination.
They know you in a certain way and they maybe don't want to have change.
And they haven't done like their own self-work to be like, wow, that's amazing. Like, how can I support you? Because all my other real friends who I said that to were like, cool.
Right.
We won't drink with you, or let's go to dinner, or let's do something else. So then it just showed me, okay, cool. How are these people showing up in my life? So that's why for a people pleaser, you got to do it slow and steady, because you got to do small boundaries to see how people show up. And if they honor it, then you can lean in a little bit more. So for example, that might look like someone saying, hey, I really could use your help. I'm moving tomorrow. Let's say your back hurts. Let's say you have a back-to-back schedule. Say you have a comedy show coming up.
Yeah, I can't move and then put this moneymaker on stage.
You've got to rest and mentally prepare.
That's right.
So imagine you said to the friend, I'm so excited for you. Like, wish I could be there. Happy to pop by later, or maybe we can grab dinner. We can sit on the floor and eat it together.
Yeah.
And they go, what the hell? You're not gonna come help me move? What kind of friend are you?
And then I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'm a bad friend.
Right.
Maybe I should betray my own schedule.
Exactly.
And that's what you're talking about. That's where the self-abandonment happens. Because rather than doing what I plan to do and working, I've now acquiesced to somebody else like that. I don't know why I dropped acquiesce right there. I was like, she's a scholar. Fire emoji.
Right? So fire. So that's why it's self-abandonment. Right. So people don't realize it because it happens gradual over time.
Right.
But when you honor your boundaries, what happens on the flip side is you build self-trust, which is one of the foundational pillars of confidence.
Okay. What are the other pillars of confidence?
I would say joy. So tapping into what brings you joy. Like, that is something that is a frequency that each person can tap into, but you have to know what that is.
Right.
Because joy is different than happiness.
Yeah.
Like, happiness you can find in anything. Whereas joy is really only something you can give to yourself.
Ooh. I like that.
It refuels your energy.
How do you personally find joy?
I would say swimming is my number one.
Right. We've been there already.
Yeah.
Okay. My active listening skills were not working properly today.
But really, it's so good for me because it like closes all the tabs. Mm-hmm. I'm weightless. And I love being in the water. Yeah, you know, like I'm like people the Ozempic allegations after swimming. Like
me 20 minutes in the pool. Yeah. The suit's just falling off me. It doesn't even stand up anymore.
Did you guys think I took an Ozempic? Like, that's like my inside joke with our friends. Like we're just hoping for the Ozempic allegations because we're working hard in the gym.
Yes, and you had a massive weight loss journey as well.
Yeah. Over, so I think like by the time I started first year university or mid first year university, I was like 580 pounds. And then I got down to like 220 and then COVID happened. And then I got back up to like 270. There was just lack of movement.
Of course.
If you're not moving your body and you're eating like, even if you're eating well.
Yeah, you're still not moving.
You're still not
I noticed
lose.
I got an Apple Watch at the beginning of this year, and I've noticed a direct correlation between how many steps I get in my day and my mood. I'm a scientist.
I'm Aristotle. 100%, right? So
H. Henderson, 2025. Brilliant. Beautiful.
You're like, I'm not even a stand-up comedian anymore. I'm a philosopher.
Yeah, that's right. A philosopher. I like the way you said it too. Yeah.
I had to just give it a little razzle-dazzle. So yeah, movement is probably my joy, but swimming is number one because that's where I have like my best thoughts and ideas because all the tabs are closed. And we've all heard of like a runner's high.
Yeah.
Never something, I wasn't a runner. Not a runner.
It's bad for the joints anyway.
You know what I'm saying?
A little crazy.
She's 38. I'm not trying to be doing that to these knees. But swimming, low impact. And then eventually over time, after about my third lap, the brain goes off. Because normally it's thinking left hand, arm, left, breathe. Right. But because I've been swimming my whole life, I don't need those reminders. I just do.
It's automatic.
So eventually your brain shuts off and your body is just doing. So I have like all my epiphanies and ideas usually when I'm swimming.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. You get really in that flow state.
Big time. Yeah. So that was the first time I was like, oh, that's probably what they feel for runner's high.
Right.
But it's swimmer's high.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Swimmers high.
Yeah.
Don't swim while you're high though. Former lifeguard here. Safety first. Don't touch that stuff, you know, like be good. Ray, I've got one more audience question from you, and then I want to talk to you about ADHD.
Sure.
Okay.
I think this podcast has been a prime example of ADHD.
I'm gonna show this to my therapist and be like, "Can I get Vyvanse
now?" Like case in point.
Boom. That's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. One more question. One listener asked, why once I achieve something challenging, do I never want to just enjoy it? Why do I only feel worthy if I'm struggling to achieve something?
So,
I mean, you don't know this person personally.
No, but that gives me a lot.
Yeah.
So because the other cool thing about my work is like all humans have patterns.
Right.
And I've been studying these patterns.
I'm not individual and unique.
You are. But the patterns are all relatively similar. You know, all humans have them, myself included. And so now I just recognize the patterns easier. Right. So this person sounds like they are experiencing a form of imposter thinking. I prefer to call it rather than imposter syndrome. Because it's not a syndrome.
Right.
No one's on medication for imposter syndrome. Like just an,
people
just
might be
an asshole
for
decided
it,
to name it that. Right. But it's really just self-talk getting the best of you.
Okay. And so you call it imposter thinking. Imposter thinking.
Yeah, that's what I call it. Everyone can call it whatever they want. But I've been studying it for the last like 5 years, researching it, and it was a blanket term for the last 5 years, or up until the 1960s. Then a woman, shocker, started to study it, and she gave us 5 different categories. So this person sounds like they're experiencing a form of imposter syndrome thinking as they're perfectionist. So they attach their value to getting things perfectly done, and that's why they don't, relish in it. And then read the last part of their comment again.
Why do I only feel worthy if I'm struggling to achieve something? Like if it's so I felt like that before too, where like for me, like being on stage connecting with people, that's always something that has felt very effortless to me. But then I ended up studying like a bunch of economics and math. That is a struggle for me because I'm like, oh, I'm doing something. Like I relate to this statement as well of like, there's a piece of like, if it's hard, then it's worth it. I don't even know if that's the right way of thinking.
So that sounds like a bit of the perfectionist paired with the soloist. So the soloist is someone who they attach their value to doing it on their own and their autonomy. But then the idea of asking for help makes them feel like a failure or inferior.
Okay, I feel attacked.
It was like, this was all fun and games.
Can you say that again? Because I think a part of my brain blacked out when you said that.
You were like, it's hitting so close to home.
I'm like, oh.
Your brain was like, shut off and protect.
No, literally, I was like disassociated. I'm like, oh, cut. I think that's it. I think, sorry, nice to meet you.
Wrap it up.
That's all we got time
for. So the soloists are people who attach their value to doing things on their own, especially their autonomy. And the idea of asking for help or support makes them feel inferior. So she's talking about feeling good because she's struggling. It's because she's doing probably whatever it is on her own, which gives her autonomy. So in her mind, it's like, this is amazing. But no one wants to feel that struggle. And then the perfectionist side is, okay, yeah, I did it and it's done and I should be excited and I'm not.
Right. So this person has two types of imposter.
I would say everyone flows through them. Yeah, right. I don't think anyone is like married to just one.
Okay, we are in an open relation with all.
We are poly. We are poly, like every F-boy in Toronto.
They're like, they're like, I can't commit to one. I can't commit to soloist right now.
Can't commit. Of course. We've heard it before.
My heart, I love you so much. It's so great.
Right? So I would say for this person or anyone who is experiencing imposter syndrome, and I encourage you to look into them. I've got some stuff on my Instagram as well. And whichever one you feel like resonates best for you, my 3 tips are always going to be the same. I created these myself, so there's probably way more tips too, but for me, my tools are all about accessible and tangible. Like you need to be able to hear it from me and then implement it into that same day. So hopefully after this, you're going to be like amazing. And if not, well then, geez.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, you.
No pressure.
This podcast is available for free on YouTube. So seek help if this didn't. You're beyond help if you can.
If we get more than 100 views. Okay. Okay. So tip number 1 is get curious. Ask questions. Why am I feeling this way? Where is this coming from? What would support for me look like right now? And is this line of thinking sustainable? So just 4 to get you started, but ideally people will all create their own. But then it's that getting you out of your subconscious mind and bringing you back into your conscious, rational mind.
Right.
Because it's true. It's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Have I felt this way before? And then if you've answered the how I felt this way before, now you will get clues about how you moved through it before. So I would say number 1. Number 2 is, I like to call it, where are the receipts? So your subconscious is only a output function.
Okay.
So it's like, you're not good enough. You can't do this. You're ugly. It's never like having a conversation with you.
Yeah. It's never like, oh, how does that, like it's like the curiosity piece.
Precisely, right? Yeah. So if you give it rebuttals, it usually subsides because it's not prepared.
Okay. Raia, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Like, I feel like if I externalized all of these things,
yeah.
people will be calling the police for me on the subway. Like, they'd be like, there's somebody talking to themselves.
No,
I don't
like,
think they need...
maybe in your head or like write it down.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want you, like, you know, shutting down the TTC because it's already struggling, as we discussed previously. Yeah. So we can't afford that. So, like, or I would say, like, a success jar, let's say. So then if someone is experiencing this in their career, like the person who wrote in, I would say have a success jar of all the times you've succeeded in your career because it's so easy to forget. And if your imposter's thinking is showing up as, I can't get this role, I shouldn't apply for the promotion, the receipt would be, oh, I got a promotion in 2020.
Oh, so like a physical jar with pieces of paper.
To actually physically read it.
I'm going home and I'm doing that tonight.
Yeah. Or put it in your notes, but just a place where you can come back to.
To like all your wins.
To provide your receipts. So the subconscious shuts up. Works so well, but still takes practice. It's not like it's going to be like, poof, gone over time. Gone right away. But over time, it'll reprogram your brain. And then the third one is just reframing. very much like how we did in the beginning, where you were like, I need to do that. And I was like, what about I get to?
I have an opportunity to.
Reframing it.
Yeah.
And you see it'll have a different energy. If I geek out for a second, in the like science and psychology realm, we have catabolic energy and anabolic energy. Catabolic energy destroys. So this is like if a scientist was looking at something under a telescope and it was attacking the cells, that's catabolic energy.
Oh.
Whereas if they were looking at cells and it was growing, that would be anabolic energy. So same with humans, like our frequency, we have catabolic or anabolic. So catabolic energy is when you're speaking to yourself negatively.
Okay.
And anabolic energy is when you're like, I'm proud of myself. Or I may not know this exactly, but I'll figure out a way. Now you're releasing happy hormones and your frequency of how you show up in the world is more positive.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Even to take that like mindset back to like the first like networking, like us with our little like
100%.
wannabe sprites, right?
Same thing.
Like if you like, and what I commented on of like you feel the energy of yourself closing off and the other person's closing off.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's okay.
Exactly. But if you're open,
right,
you find that people are more open. If you're vulnerable, people are more vulnerable. And that's what I always say to people. If you want someone to be vulnerable, show up that way first. Simple.
Ew, that sounds so hard. Scary.
I know.
Ew, I don't want to do it.
Yucky. But like that's life.
Right.
Part of life.
So much wisdom that you have. And you've done, as we talked about your credentials earlier, and you like to learn. You like to like exploring these things.
That's the best part. It's fun. Like, even in school, I hated exams and tests, but like hit me with learning. So then I self-advocated with my ADHD self, and I said, ooh, not doing so well on the test because I get anxiety and I don't write anything. But if you quiz me face to face or let me do a presentation, you know that I know this. And they were like, okay.
I was that girl too. The way I used to study for all of my tests is I had to always say it. And so I would line up like my stuffed animals on my bed and I would like sit there with my binder and I would pretend I'm teaching it to them.
Yes, exactly.
Like, yeah.
Skills practice is technically what it's called.
Skills practice. I'm not stupid. I just need skills practice. Boom. That's what we do. Right.
And each person's going to have a different version, but you're like me. I need to say it back to somebody.
Yeah.
Teach it back to skills in practice.
Yeah. Speaking of practicing skills, let's get to the ADHD portion. I have an anecdote for you. So I'm not diagnosed. I'm not medicated. But every therapist I've ever met with is like, yo, probably something's not, like sending you love.
They
like,
spoke
there's,
to you.
There's a little bit, and like even I mean, especially with girls growing up, like there's never any like discourse around us. And I remember like a perfect example when I was learning how to read. Which work in progress every day. I had to learn.
Still trying.
I learned what water was.
Still trying. Like, what's the vowel?
Exactly. Well, when I was learning how to read, it was, for like kids' book, there's like a picture and then there's the words, right? Yeah. Or sometimes it's mixed both. I remember I was sitting on one side of the teacher and she was like, "Can you read this to me, Hilary?" And I was like, I was on the side of the picture. And so I was like, oh, well, that guy's going to that house. Like, I made up my own story that was surely much more interesting than whatever the author wrote. But I made up my own story on the picture. And it was like a teacher tapped into enough of being like, oh, she's just not even paying attention to the words because they're a bit farther. Like the picture's what's right in front of her. Yeah. And so she was so smart and was like, hey, Hilary, can you come sit on the other side of me? And so she did. And then that's where the words were. And I was like, oh, far less exciting. But like, I can read like now that it's like right in front of me. But I wanted to know, like, what's your journey been with like that? Like, do you see it as a blessing? In what ways? Like, does it? Because for me, I'm like, does it like? That's where I think like the juice of like being funny and creative comes from too. But
I think it's gotten a bad rep, especially because we're living in a world now where it's just like any kid who's boisterous is now ADHD. Right. Here's medication.
Here's meth.
Yeah. Like,
good luck.
It's like, good luck with your brain evolving.
Right.
Like, of course not. So that part I don't like. But I do think with support and like for me, the biggest thing was being able to advocate. My parents really instilled that in me. So that's how I was able to be like, hey, I don't do well on exams because I get anxious. But if you quiz me in person or you let me do a presentation, I'm going to show you that I have the information in my head. And
did you have a diagnosis as a kid that helped?
Yeah, in grade 4.
Okay.
So in grade 4, I was diagnosed, wasn't on medication, but just something to be aware of. Then in grade 10, I was like flunking out of high school. And the principal was like, yeah, put her on ADHD or or Ritalin or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah. So my parents reluctantly obliged, and I was on it for 3 months. And I remember just not feeling like myself. I remember feeling the way I described it to my parents was, I think I said, like, I don't have access to my emotions.
Oh.
That's how I described it.
Huh.
Yeah. That's
So
what
like
it felt like.
you weren't feeling like highs and lows, and like you were just kind of.
I was just chill.
Like, yeah.
But I was like, I know I can see them there, but I can't like, it's almost like funny, happy,
like through a shower curtain. Like you can like see it, but you can't like grasp
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So then I was like, I'm just gonna stop taking it. Which
we're not saying just drop your meds if it's not,
No, yeah. Like I had the support of my doctor and my parents, But I was like, okay, so if I looked at it, I worked my way backwards. I was like, if they think I need this because I'm failing school, then if I stop failing, they won't think I need this. So it put this little bit of a fire under my butt to be like, okay, let me show you. You think I can't do this? Then I'll find a way to do it in my way. And then it fired me up, and
was this your soloist like imposter?
I think it was just like it was doubt. It was almost one of those like doubt me and let me prove you wrong. So then the next year I got most improved student award. Grade 12, I got early acceptance and scholarships to every school I applied to.
Amazing.
My parents hated that I chose the one I didn't get a scholarship to, but that's fine.
Yeah. You're 38 now, like it's fine. It's like
water under the bridge, parents.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Those loans have just been collecting interest.
Right? So then for me, it's like I showed you. I didn't need the medication to retain information. I needed the medication to appease you in terms of what behavior and grades
within a
think.
system.
Yeah. It's like just because you gave me an exam and I didn't do well doesn't determine if I'm smart or not, which is something I thought flawed with our school system.
Right.
So being able to self-advocate was probably my biggest tool that supported me. And then as an adult, being an entrepreneur, throwing parties, it didn't really impact me because I had so much spare time to ebb and flow. But now at 38, I have two full-time careers simultaneously. So it requires a lot of energy, a lot of brain power. But what I do is if I'm having a day where it's like, can't focus, can't get it in, can't crush it, shut it down.
Right.
Shut my computer.
Really?
Cancel my day. And I will watch cartoons. I will go for a swim.
Just do something to reset your...
And then be like, okay, start again tomorrow.
Okay.
But then tomorrow I will make sure that I do some of the things that I know are important, which is, get right out of bed when I wake up, get my 30 grams of protein, and get some movement in, and then go crush. But then crush till like 3.
Right.
Take a break.
Yeah.
And then if there's really something important to do, sure, maybe I'll hop back on at 7. And then the last thing I'll say is that I also do my top 3 priorities. This really helps because we get into shame and guilt.
Right.
When your ADHD is causing you to not be able to focus and get things done.
I have that all the time where it's like, I just want to quit the day. And then I'm like, but I have like the to-do list is right here.
But that's not fair because now that's a negative, that's catabolic energy.
Right. I'm doing the need thing. Of,
guilt and shame is going to make you feel more guilt and shame. So instead I feel empowered. So cool. Sorry. Thanks for your patience rather than sorry for the delay, shifting everything. And then the top 3 priorities allows me to get whatever is most pressing for that day done. So then I'm like, I feel proud.
Right.
Boom. Now I'm in momentum.
Right.
And now anything else I get done on the checklist is a bonus. Boo, boo, boo. And then if I clock off at 3, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Because I got the most important things done.
Well, and that's the side that I think people don't talk enough about with ADHD is like, I could waste 3 days, but I could do 3 days of work in one afternoon if I just believe in myself enough.
Literally, it's like, ooh, that thing I was avoiding for 2 weeks took me 20 minutes.
I know. There's this one woman, I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, who does these videos where she's like, how long does it take? Like, and
I've seen her, and I'm like,
I can't remember her name. Comment below if you remember her name.
Even cleaning, like someone tell me you're coming over.
Yeah.
Get that cleaned in 2 minutes. Otherwise, I'll avoid it for weeks.
Okay, so here you're an advocate of people pleasing then. Like, where you're like...
I think all things in balance. All things in balance.
I love it so much. Raia, I've just got a couple of rapid fire questions for you.
I love a good rapid fire
Do you have any like words or affirmations that you will repeat to yourself?
Ooh, yeah. I have 3.
Okay.
And they're more like mantras. And I say them 3 times. And then at the end, I'll say my name. So it'll look like, I love you, I love you, I love you, Raia. I honor you, I honor you, I honor you, Raia. And you are more than enough. You are more than enough. You are more than enough, Raia. And those are my 3 go-to. And the reason I encourage people to say their name is because it fires up that subconscious.
Yeah.
So that your conscious mind and your subconscious can be aligned on the things that are like your foundational pillars within yourself.
Right.
So on those tough days or tough moments, even if I have 2 minutes, couple deep breaths and say those to myself.
I'm going to do that before I get on stage tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I go on stage, I'm always meditating. I'm standing in the corner, you're miking me up, my eyes are closed, and I'm meditating.
And are you just kind of connecting with something?
I'm attuning to the frequency in the room. Right? Because when you're like, everything's chill, and then you get on stage and boom.
Yeah.
It's like thousands of people, energy coming at you. It's a lot.
Yes.
So,
especially if I imagine what you do too, you're 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah.
People are ready to pack it in. They've been sitting all day, whatever it is.
Yeah. I have to bring in the energy, then hit them with knowledge, and then have some fun.
Right.
And maybe some tears. Just to
balance it out. You can't have one without the other.
If I'm going to be challenged, you're going to be challenged. So that really helps. The meditation helps me attune to the frequency. Is how I describe it. Yeah.
So you say, I love you.
I honor you.
I honor you.
You're more than enough.
You're more than enough. Yeah. Beautiful.
And the other thing I love about that, and everyone can create their own, but if you say those to yourself and you don't feel good, then that's a clue that you're out of balance. It means you haven't been honoring yourself. You don't really feel like you love yourself, and you don't feel like you're more than enough. I've had people do that in my sessions and meditations with me, and they cry when they say I love you. They're like, I've never said I love you to myself out loud, physically.
Right.
You say it every day.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you feel good, or you smile, or you feel like then that means you're in alignment with those words.
Love it.
And so that's why I stick to those, because on some days I feel it and some days I don't.
Right.
I always feel that I love you. But sometimes I'm like, have I been honoring myself this week? Where did I people please? Where did I drop my boundaries? Where did I say, I don't want to go to the gym today, even though I know that swimming and movement makes me feel good? That's not me honoring myself.
Right.
So then it kind of brings you back.
I love that. I love that. And I feel like that's going to, that would help your confidence too. And even I had questions about relationships with you. We'll have to have you back for another episode to get into those things too. But I also feel like it can be really hard, especially, my audience mostly being young women that are either in, big life changes 100%. With relationships, romantic or family or friends or work.
Nothing
or
better than a woman honoring her boundaries. And as a masculine representing woman, it's like, I want to empower women, especially if I'm dating, to do that.
Hell yeah.
Because secretly men and the masculine energy wants that. So bear with me just really quickly.
Okay.
Think about how we have dogs and they need training. Not because
That's right.
that's why I said bear with me. Right? But dogs feel kind of chaotic if they don't have training.
Right.
That's just how their brains are programmed. So it's like I'm running around like a crazy person. But if you train them, they love to feel empowered. They love to show up to the person who is. That's what's a man's best friend.
Men are dogs in this. Masculine is dogs.
Yes, but I'm not talking about dogs like you guys are gross. I'm talking about dogs in terms of they sometimes just need that extra guidance.
Oh, okay.
So the men who are really ready for a relationship are going to love your strictness. They're going to love the boundaries.
Okay.
Because it gives them something to show up to.
Be a cunt. That's
That's what you took from what I said. Cut the show. Wrap it up. She's like, so what I'm hearing you say is
just
cunt.
No, but it is. I mean,
bleep that out. My mom's gonna kill me.
It's okay.
No, keep it on. We just go beep beep.
We'll put a little overstimulated on it. My mom would probably kill. We're past the point of that. I say so many things on stage, and it's
moms are over it. They're like, figure it the F out.
Yes,
you're in your late 30s. I need a break.
You're beyond talent. But I do love what you're that piece of advice. Yeah. I'm going to dinner with some girlfriends after this. I'm gonna let them know.
And we can do another one.
I would love
specifically on relationships because I've always felt like I am a bridge because I speak the man's language as well as the women's language. I've always said I'm a hybrid. So to my girls, they'll be like, this guy did this. And I'll be like, let me decipher that in man for you.
Right.
And for the guys, I'll be like, let me decipher that in women for you.
You're the translator.
I'm the translator.
Oh my gosh.
Who knew?
Someone needs to give you a reality TV show ASAP. I need to see it. Like if you were the host of a dating show, we'll collab. You and me together. I'm going to start firing this off to some people. This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Networks.
Yeah.
Netflix, everybody.
Yeah.
Dating show.
Dating show.
Not Queer Eye for the straight guy anymore, but it's like, I don't know. queer eye for everybody.
But it's like specifically you playing like telephone between like people.
It's so funny. I love it. I love getting to hear what my guy friends are saying.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she was mad at me because I didn't take out the garbage. And I'm like, she's not mad at you about the garbage.
Yes.
She's mad at you because you don't respect her. Like, how does she get respect from garbage? Sorry, anytime I impersonate a guy, I have to talk like that, right?
That's right.
Everybody.
That's correct.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, because you said you would do it and you didn't. And that's what she's
That's what the disrespect, if you're not following through on something. Or like if she, I mean, that's a classic like male-female dynamic where like woman's like, I'm doing everything at home.
That's why I say like masculine and feminine energy, whatever that is in your relationships.
Yeah.
Great. But it's always going to be there. There's always going to be masculine and feminine, whatever that is.
Yeah. Raia, what's one app on your phone that you refuse to delete?
Oh my God. Let's see. That's so funny because it's like, do I want it there or am I just like procrastinating? Because that's something that ADHD kids do. So one that I haven't like refused to delete.
Or your favorite? What are you always like hitting?
I would say I'm on IG. More than I'd like to be. But I also really enjoy the pattern. I don't necessarily dive too deep into the relationship pieces, but I love the just like note for the day.
Yeah. That's one's linked to your like astrology and that too. Yeah. Do you know your big three? I should have asked you this off the top. Drop them.
Virgo, Sun, Leo, Moon, Aries, Rising.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I see that for you because I'm a Virgo rising.
Yeah.
But then you've got the Leo moon because you're like you're an entertainer here.
Exactly.
But then like the Aries is like spicy.
Exactly.
I like it.
Right?
I'm all earth. I'm Taurus sun, Taurus moon, Virgo rising.
Earth. See, I'm a water baby, but I'm an earth sign.
Right. Maybe that's why you like the water so much. I'm going to start swimming now because I have so much earth.
Please.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I'm going to report back. We should go swimming together.
Anytime.
Okay, great. That sounds... Raia, can you read us something from your notes app? It doesn't have to make sense to us. Yeah, we'll get your phone.
I love that. Did you ask everyone this question?
I do, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so fun. Let's see
I'm trying to remember what Ricky's was. I think it was just like a quote he had written down or something he'd heard.
Let's see. I probably have some quotes too. Let's see. This is so fun.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Ricky's was about one of his friends. Like he had a note every time he was like told a girl he said I love you just like way too quick, like after like a date. Like
one date? Stop it right friggin' now. Holy smokes. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. So a note that I was writing about and workshopping is how to move through emotion. So I think a lot of people don't know how. So I said, emotion is not the enemy, avoidance is. Emotions are energy in motion, and when we allow ourselves to fully move through them rather than suppress or bypass, we create space for clarity, release, and deeper resilience.
Damn. That's...
on brand.
Yeah, this is very on brand. You should make your notes app into a book someday, honestly.
At this point, one day, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me get rid of like all the scattered stuff. Like another note is just like, don't forget.
That's the most ADHD note I've ever heard. Don't forget, it's really important. I don't know what it is.
Don't forget what or when.
Don't forget to
decipher the code. I don't know. We'll ask when the ADHD brain hits again.
when it comes back 3 months from now, and you're like, oh, or somebody gives you a call or an email, and you're like, oh.
Chances are I'll remember it though. Yeah, that's how it works.
Text me when you remember it. We'll post it on the Instagram so people remember what it is.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, what a cliffhanger.
Yeah. And that's how we're gonna end the episode because my last question is for you, Raia. Okay, how do you keep from getting overstimulated?
Oh, so I would say I'm really good at honoring my boundaries, especially in public spaces. Like, yes, I'm outgoing, but I'm outgoing out of survival. I'm really actually like more so I want to stay home and be cozy. So
do you have to push yourself then to go out sometimes?
No, on the other end is I leave early.
Okay.
I don't go to any event for usually longer than an hour. But I'm coming in hot. I'm shaking hands. I'm kissing babies. Like, let's go. I'm taking pictures. I'm connecting with 3 people. but I'm leaving.
I like it. And then you're Irish exiting out.
Always.
And people
I
are like,
Houdini.
damn, leave them wanting more.
Absolutely.
That's the first
And
rule of
here's
show
the best
biz.
part about that is because one, now I'm not overstimulated, because if you leave and you're already overstimulated,
Right.
the decompressing is way more difficult.
Right.
So I leave before I get annoyed with everybody.
Great. I love that.
And then I'm home before I even get to the overstimulated space. So all my friends know it's like, oh, 1 hour. Unless it's like a close friend's birthday or
Where
like,
you'll stay longer. Yeah.
1 hour.
I love that. Well, we got some holiday long weekends
Wrap it up.
coming up.
And people know this is my symbol.
This is like,
It means the Uber is going to be outside in 5 if you're coming or not.
you're coming, we're going. Either way, I'm out of here.
But my friends who know me love it, right? So it's like when you teach people what you need, they'll honor it if they really love you.
I love that.
So now my friends know it's like, Raia's leaving. Or I Houdini'd and I didn't say bye, but that don't mean I don't love you.
Yeah. Right, because people know
Exactly.
this is how she works. This is how she moves.
Exactly.
She's
It's how I show up my best.
She's got to go swimming tomorrow morning.
Gotta
There's
swim.
no room.
Gotta swim and watch cartoons. Everyone knows I watch cartoons when I get home.
I love it. I love it. What's a cartoon that helps you decompress?
Last Airbender.
I don't know that one. I genuinely can say I don't know that one. It's not like the water.
Yikes. Cut the show. She doesn't know The Last Airbender? God.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. But you're going to love it, though.
I'm going to love it. I'm going to look
Even
it
if
up.
you just watch one episode, one
Again,
night.
I want to be your favorite client.
Right. So
I'm
this is what
gonna
you need to do
I'm
then.
research
Because it's all about earth, water, fire, and wind.
Okay, it's astrology for...
No, it's about how they can move those elements.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
And I always recommend all parents watch it with their kids because it's teaching them so much about meditation without meditation. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And they just remade it into a live action show. So watch the cartoon, like one episode, a couple episodes.
Okay.
All right. So this is your homework.
Okay, thank you. I'm
so-
taking notes right now.
We all,
I'm writing it down.
You all heard
everyone's
this.
everyone's got homework.
Yeah.
Come back for the next episode where
Absolutely.
I report on my journey.
Last
with
Airbender
this.
and relationships.
Yeah, realize I love you back. Right, it was so much. It was so lovely to sit down with you and chat with you. I
so
really
much
enjoyed this
fun.
conversation.
Can't believe that went by already.
I know. We took so many turns. We came back to ADHD at the end. People were like, "These girls."
You should just
really?
call it what ADHD sounds like between two ADHDers.
for a full hour. Just where can everybody find you online if they're not already following you?
So Coach.Carey on IG. Coach.Carey on IG. Then I got LinkedIn, Raia, Coach Carey. And I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on it as often.
Okay, that's a good choice. Honestly, that's better for your mental
I'm
health.
38, can only do so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for getting overstimulated with us. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.